Now, for a long time, especially in the beginning, I kind of objected or resisted watching the whole 90 Day Fiance Single Life series. But as I got into it and I started watching it, it occurred to me that you get to see the genesis of how these people make the decisions that they make and how they wound up in the situations that they were in. Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. Let's get it. Now, the first thing that we need to address is the recruitment process. When you're recruiting somebody or you're going out and you're trying to find the people that you want to date, you have to understand why you're picking the people you're picking and what is the purpose of you picking those people. Now, the first thing that you have to set up is you have to have a clarity of purpose. What are you actually going out to get? What is your objective? What are you trying to do? And then once you have the clarity of purpose, you then start to decipher who can help you to reach that objective. Now, you have to be crystal clear as to what the objective is. And in most of the cases that we'll go through today, a lot of the people don't have a clear objective as to what it is they're trying to achieve. They're going into the relationship with a open mind. Now, I've heard before that people will compare going out on dates as like job interviews. You have to go into it understanding that everybody is going to put their best face on when they're doing the interview. Everybody's going to present themselves in the best possible light so that they can be received the best. This is both the employer as well as the prospective employee. The second part of you have to understand in that whole equation, like dating, everybody is going to lie. Everybody's going to give you a bogus resume. They're going to tell you how great they are, how wonderful they are, and all the stuff they've done. And if you really look into it and do your research, what you're going to find is half the stuff, if not, more than half the stuff isn't even kind of true. So you have to be able to decipher for yourself whether the person is telling the truth and whether the person is giving you the real information so that you can make a proper decision. Now, the bigger part of that is they have qualifications and criteria for each one of the candidates that they interview for the job. They know what they want. And they know what that person is going to be doing and what that person is going to contribute to their organization. You set up goals and criteria, objectives, and things that they have to be able to do in order to get that job, or even to be considered for the job. Where a lot of people fail is that they don't have the criteria already laid out. They don't know exactly what it is they're looking for, and they're not specific as to what they want to do. Now, as mentioned, this is a two-way street. Likewise, with dating, as with job interviews, you should never apply for a job and they don't know what they want. If you go to a job interview and they say, hey, we're open-minded, just send in your resume and we'll talk to you and we'll try to fit you in the best way we can. Maybe we'll make you temp. Maybe we'll make you permanent. Maybe we'll have you do sales. Maybe we'll put you in marketing. Maybe we'll have you do some generic office work. Who knows? Just come on in and we'll hire you. You're hired and we'll just figure it out. That's terrible. Like, same. If you go out on a date and a person doesn't know what they want to get out of this date or this process, they have no idea. They're going into it with an open mind, meaning that you could be anything from the one night stand all the way up to the boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe you'll be married and all that is open, then that person doesn't have any idea what they want. And where it becomes a complication, because it sounds like it's a good thing, but where it becomes a complication is if you don't know what you want, how can we possibly come to a meeting of the minds? How can we possibly move forward together? If I don't know which job I'm applying for, what position I'm applying for, whether it's one night stand, friends with benefits, boyfriend, or husband, then it leaves me the open interpretation that I can do one or none of those things listed. If you want to have successful relationships, no matter where you fall on that scale, you want to make sure that you know exactly what it is you want and that you go and only see candidates who fit the criteria that fit into the objective that you're trying to achieve. Interviews are also about compatibility, not just criteria or checking off some nebulous box. It's about making sure that you get along with the people that you're going to be in a relationship with. And not only do you fit with them, but the people around you fit in with them. And if you're looking to get into a relationship, you want to get along not just with them, but you want to get along with their friends and the people that they hold closest to them. Now, why is this important? If You meet somebody and you guys get along great and you're checking off the boxes. They have everything that you're looking for. You guys just laugh and talk and meet minds everywhere, and it's great. But you have children and they can't stand kids, then you guys aren't compatible. Now, in some cases, they always say, like, when you apply to a job, this is like you're not just applying to a job, this is like applying to a family, and we're like a family and we get along. When you're dating somebody, you too are applying to join somebody's family. You are also applying to 10 other families that week. So when you just start dating somebody, they're applying all over the place. When you go for job interviews, you're applying everywhere. You're putting in applications everywhere. You aren't just putting in one application, waiting for that person to get back to you, and if it doesn't work out, then you go apply somewhere else. No, you got applications all over the town. Now, speaking of somebody with children, my first example is Tiffany. Tiffany just went on a first date last week, and she was dating a gentleman. When they were out, it was a guy she knew before, and they apparently had sexual relations before, and they were kind of close before. I don't know how close they were, because I'm not really sure how Tiffany rolls that way, whether she has to be in relationships to sleep with people or she can just bang out one night stands or whatever. It kind of seems more like the latter. So I don't know how close they actually are. But she reconnected with this gentleman. During the time that they were talking and trying to feel each other out, she went in open-minded. He could either be the boyfriend or, she hasn't had sex in a long time, so he could be a one-night stand. Meanwhile, she's still married. She's just separated from her husband, or more to the point, she just hasn't gone back to see him. So it's very nebulous as to what is actually going on with her and her relationship status. But she asked the gentleman, well, why did you and your ex-girlfriend break up? He looked right back at her and said, we broke up because she wanted kids. And, I'm not about the kids because I'm real focused on my business. I want to do traveling. I got things I want to do, and I can't do that with kids. Meanwhile, he's sitting across the table with someone who has 2 children. She has a family already. She has kids. So either one, he doesn't know what job he is applying to, or 2, she doesn't recognize that this guy is not a failed candidate. He's not a good person that you should be trying to talk to or spend your time with, because it's a waste of time. Because the moment you guys start to get close, then he's just going to shift gears and say, well, I can't be a part of you because I don't want kids. I told you from the beginning I don't want kids, which goes back to what I was talking about before when it comes to setting the deal, understanding what the deal is. He told her straight up that he doesn't want kids. So now if she takes him back and she sleeps with him, and he turns around and says, okay, well, I'm done now because you have kids. I told you I didn't want to deal with kids. Oh, well, we're over. How mad can she possibly be? He told you he didn't want to deal with kids. He told you he didn't want to do his own kids. So why in the world would you think he wants to do somebody else's children? My second example is Natalie and Josh. Natalie went into the dating experience with Josh with the highest of expectations. She went in thinking that Josh was going to be her husband. And this is before she even had an opportunity to know who he was, what he was about, whether he was even interested in long-term relationships, so on and so forth. After they bump uglies, she turns around and says, he's my husband. I don't just sleep with people unless I plan for them to be the father of my children and become my husband. I wouldn't do that. And she cries on the bed. And this is part of the problem. You set an expectation so high that you can't be denied the reality that the relationship won't work out. Your expectation is we're already married. You jump past the dating process. You jump past the engagement process. You jump past the marriage and making sure that everything moves forward that way. You're already at a point where you think that you're going to have kids and start a family. And this is the second date. And when you set these expectations super high and you go in with super high expectations, what happens is you ignore all the red flags. Why do you ignore all the red flags, all the warning signs? Why do they get to become habitual line steppers and go over your red line all the time? Because at the end of the day, you aren't in a relationship with that person. The person you're in a relationship with doesn't exist. You're not looking at Josh for who Josh is. You're looking at Josh for who you want him to be. And that creates a problem because Josh will never be able to live up to the expectations of the person that you created for yourself. And to be honest, Josh isn't even close to the person that Natalie has set up. Josh isn't there for the relationship. Josh is there for the boom boom. The next example I have is Debbie. Debbie finds herself in a situation where she is desperate to be in a relationship with somebody. This relationship has to work out. This person has to be my boyfriend. This is my last chance for love. If you put all your eggs in one basket, you're just shortchanging yourself and you're shortchanging your relationship. Now, the last example I'm going to give is actually a combo. It's Tanya and Caesar. These two people have a confusion of purpose. Why are you going on the dates? When Tanya was talking about going out on dates with Joel and she hadn't gone out with him yet, the first thing she started talking about is, oh, he's so sexy and maybe I'll just sleep with him. Maybe, I haven't had sex in so long. But then she gets on a date and all of a sudden it's, well, he's the kind of guy that I could be in a relationship with and I could see myself with this guy. Which is it? Do you want to have the one night stand or do you want to have the relationship? The fact of the matter is, by definition, they can't be both. You can't have a one night stand and a relationship with somebody you only gonna sleep with once. Like, it just doesn't work. So you have to have a clarity of purpose and why you're going on a date. Caesar, the same thing. Caesar is so wrapped up with how these women look and what they would do for him and how they would make him feel. He fails to realize that without that clarity of purpose and what it is you want, what it is you're looking for, what it is you're trying to get out of these relationships, what is the relationship going to do for you? And more to the point, you also have to take into consideration, what is the relationship going to do for them? When you apply for work or you apply for a relationship, the bottom line is you have to fill a need that the person has. So if you go for a job, the person who's going to be the successful candidate is the person who's going to solve a problem. The person is saying, you know what? I'm a complete person. I'm okay with being alone, but I'd like to spend Fridays and Saturday nights going to the movies or hanging out with somebody or getting a different perspective. And you come in and say, hey, I can solve that problem. Then all of a sudden, you might find yourself in a relationship. With Caesar, the only problem he has is he wants a pretty girl to have sex with, and that's the only problem he's trying to solve. But he's saying that he wants to have a long-term romantic relationship with somebody. And those two things are not the same thing. Now, even with that, I would just say that you have to know yourself and you have to refuse to accept crap deals. Most of the time, when people don't know themselves and know what they want and know what objectives they're trying to reach in their relationship goals, they accept crap deals because they're wide open for anybody to come in and negotiate and give them whatever they want to give them, whatever they have left. Now, one of the last things I'll say is, in order for you to be successful in your dating experiences, you have to know who you are, know what you're willing to tolerate, know what you can tolerate, and then be clear in the objectives that you want to have and the objectives you lay out for yourself. And then you start looking for people who can help you to reach those objectives. If you go in and you don't have a clear source of objectives and a clear source of purpose, clarity of purpose, then what happens is you'll find yourself in a situation where you start to accept crap deals. And that's where most of these people in a 90-day fiance find themselves in that whole little timeline that I laid out as far as settling, as far as getting involved in relationships that they really shouldn't be in, having high expectations, going in and being desperate. You're willing to accept a crap deal because all of a sudden it seems like they're solving your problems. The truth of the matter is, by accepting a crap deal, all you're doing is creating more problems for yourself. You have to know what you're willing to tolerate and know what you're willing to go through. Know your limitations. Now, at the end of the day, I realize that by giving this advice, I'm like the lifeguard who's watching somebody drown in a pool and I'm telling them to relax and just grab the pole. I get it. It's easy for me to stand here on the safe shore with my feet on the ground and tell a person in the pool who's in over their head that they have to relax and just do the things they need to do to save their life. However, with that being said, relax and do the things that are necessary for you to save and improve your life. My name is James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I